Hey guys, my name is Terrence, and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into my podcast and third episode titled How a Member of the Occult Singled Me Out for Gang Stalking. Now, if you have not subscribed to my channel as yet, please navigate your way to that subscribe tab and nail it. Thank you for that and much love. Now, here we go. So, in most cases, guys, a targeted individual for gang stalking will never know who is responsible for targeting them or when they were singled out to be stalked and harassed. However, in my case, I was fortunate to know who the criminal was, and it was none other than a sergeant major, a man whom I had never met at the time when I was designated a target. Now, this person, whom I often refer to as the sellers of souls, for many reasons, had shamelessly allowed himself to be misled by one of his society's members. Now, all that bad guy had to do was whisper a lie into that man's ear, and voila, I was a target. He never took the time to find out if it was personal or if it was a disagreement, which it was a few years earlier, and a man of his position and statute at the time. I found out that after I found out that it was him, I was quite surprised. But then, in such a society, with a whole bunch of shallow people, like-minded losers, I'm not surprised. And like I said, all this very bad person needed was a simple lie whispered into his ear to target me. And I'm quite certain that a lot of service members who are watching this episode are sitting there and asking themselves, is this for real? And my answer to you is, hell yeah. And I will tell you how I found out. You see, both the sergeant major and his buddy, a staff sergeant, the manipulator, by the way, they both belong to the same society. And in that organization, they are like family. And like a real gang, their loyalty to each other knows no boundaries. Now, with that said, I was a witness to this guy, the manipulator, trying to find my supervisor one afternoon. He wanted to find my supervisor to give him a message from that sergeant major. And that message was aimed at my future. You see, the sergeant major did not use the phone or email to send that message, since the possibility of it being intercepted was real. And so the message was carried by the manipulator himself. Now let me share with you what that staff sergeant said to me before strolling off to find my supervisor that day. Now, there we were, me and our buddy, having a conversation in Germany, we had just taken a short break from training. And at the time I was stationed in Italy, but went down there to Germany to do some training in preparation for Afghanistan. And so this guy, the manipulator, approached me and said, he just walked up to me and said, and I was surprised to see him because I had not seen that guy for over 3 years. So there he just walked up to me out of the blue and said, "You should never burn bridges behind you," unquote. And I was at loss for words, guys, because I did not know what he was talking about. I know that he didn't like me, but to say that I should never burn bridges against me was kind of weird. But of course, they're weird people anyway. And to add insult to the injury, he stated that I was gonna find myself under a bridge one day. In other words, he and his organization were gonna render me homeless in the future. And those words were like a dagger to my heart, man. They actually hurt, and I felt threatened because I knew exactly who he was associated with. You see, this man had a whole menagerie of like-minded demons behind him, And I was truly concerned. But it did not take very long for the stress created by that threat, to my future to subside, because deep down I knew that no weapon formed against me was going to prosper. They never did, by the way. Now, later that day, he found my supervisor, and after that message was delivered, I became a legitimate target for a pseudo-secret society who wanted nothing more but to see me suffer psychologically, financially, and socially. And guess what, guys? Within an hour of receiving that message, my supervisor, I had known this guy, he was awesome. When I met him, he was awesome. We had a great relationship. But after he received that message, he did a 180, like from light to darkness, and came after me with everything that he got. And so, I remembered, man. I was stressed out, I was depressed, and the only thing that I had left to do was retreat to my war chamber, to my prayer room, which, by the way, was my garage. And after arriving from work every day, I would close the doors to that garage, the front from which the vehicle enter, and there's a little door in the back. I use it, I locked it. I was over in Italy, and then I would remove my camouflage jacket and lay it on the concrete in the garage, on the floor, to be used as a cushion for my knees. And there in the garage, I would kneel in prayer every day with my forehead on that cold concrete. You see, prayer was the only thing that I had in the war against some very, very powerful society members. And so I used it to the best of my abilities at the time. I used it, I prayed as best as I could. That's the only way that I could fight these people. And eventually, guys, 2 society members were removed from their jobs for incompetence, and 2 others were actually removed from the military for sexual harassment. And currently, the main one is busting at the seams. I mean, his gut could explode at any moment now. Too many burgers, I suppose. Now, in addition to the society's string of misdeeds, I was made into a pariah. Guys, an enemy within, and one to be viewed with scorn. They even tried to stop me from flying from Italy to Washington, D.C. to be interviewed for a job at the White House. And when I threatened to see the Inspector General, the criminals panicked. And the following morning, I was sitting on a jet bounded for the United States. And I have no doubt that my prayers, which is still my sword and still my shield, was most instrumental in defeating those society members' attempt to stop me, guys. Now, and I said this before, there's nothing more fulfilling than prayer. It works. Now, as soon as I got the job in DC, the society began to troll me. They were all over my Facebook page, and they did so in all of their splendors as they paraded themselves in those shiny, ritualistic uniforms. And I knew what it was, and I knew that the war on me was not over. Now, but as long as there is a God, I know that I was going to be fine. Now, how did I get the information about who was responsible for targeting me? Well, surprisingly, it was one of their own. So they are not entirely loyal. There are some in there with some morals. I know this for a fact. Probably can count on one hand, but there are a few in there. So a few years earlier, guys, I had competed against this guy for Drill Sergeant of the Year on a base called Fort Benning in Georgia. And at the conclusion of that competition, we became, very, very close friends. Now, 3 years later, and there I was at a brigade ball in Edelweiss, Germany, when my buddy approached me and spoke. "We need to talk now," he said. Now, and this guy's facial expression, he said it all. He said it all and more. And after the conclusion of our conversation, I knew what was about to happen, and I was scared. I was terrified, because you are talking about a host of like-minded, cold and callous, wicked people coming after me. I'm talking devil-level wicked people. And the phrase, wicked people here is most definitely an understatement when describing these folks, man, because they are the types that the Bible warns us about. They are the type of wicked people that the Bible warns us about. And I was their target, man. And I was truly afraid. Now, the following week, after my buddy had tipped me off about what was to come, I was standing in a parking lot in Vicenza, Italy, when a completely different sergeant major, but also a member of their team, approached. And this guy, who was also a deacon of a church, said for me to hear. Just loud enough for me and me only to hear. "It is not who you know," that's what he said. "It is not who you know, but who knows you," unquote. Unbeknownst to him, since I was a baby, I was a little kid, I knew who was watching over me. He just didn't know that. You see, he was cryptically telling me that I was a confirmed target for gang stalking by his organization. He then walked away without saying another word. And by then, guys, I had become a legitimate target for these guys. I had become a legitimate target for stalking and harassment by a pseudo-secret society embedded within the United States Army. Speaking about a demon who was also a deacon of a church, right? What an insult. Because true Christians are not hateful. They are not hateful, guys. We're not perfect, Christians are not perfect because we're human, but we do not hurt each others in the name of revenge or hearsay. And if you watch my episode, and when I say Christian, guys, for those guys who are not Christians, I mean, well, I'm just speaking about my side of the world, religion-wise, Not to say yours is not great. I believe that all religions are great. And so I'm talking about mine. So I believe that, us Christians are not the type to react on hearsay. We're not revengeful. Matter of fact, we shouldn't be, even though some, are. Now, if you guys watch my first episode, guys, you'll hear me say that the society is an infestation in the military. It is an infestation that should be vetted and removed because they have ruined the chances for many service members. Likewise, police officers, likewise those people in the prison systems to move to the next rank. These guys are like cancer, eating away at the very foundation of a beautiful organization. And no disrespect to you, society, guys, because the message here was never designed to reach the unreachable, but instead to those people who are currently your targets. And I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed that some of the people whom I used to look up to were actually without integrity. Especially that one that assigned me to be, designated me to be targeted, become a target for gang stalking. Unbelievable. I cannot believe that some of these guys were real-time criminals. I did not know that those guys were leaving home and work at times to stalk those who they swore to defend against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. You see, those people that I used to look up to, Man, they were actually terrorizing the American people like, like parasites, like bottom feeders, nibbling away at the very core of the innocence and that which is good. Wow. These guys were nibbling away at the core of the innocence, of the very innocent, and that which is good in the name of a pseudo-secret society. A most disloyal bunch, if you may ask. And I'm talking about a group that had the audacity to label me a suspected spy and drug dealer while stalking and harassing the American people in the name of an organization who they swore an allegiance to after they had already swore an oath to defend the Constitution. Where does your true loyalties lie? That is the question. And by the way, I know that your team is immense, with thousands of you little minions running around, with some having your symbols tattooed on their bodies. And I know this for a fact because one of my past co-worker, had a deer tattoo written on his right arm. He belonged to you guys, like a piece of property. And like Lucifer of the Bible, that guy was one of the most charismatic people that I have ever had the misfortune of meeting. And should I say, you society people, you guys grossly underestimated me because my team is bigger and better than yours. Matter of fact, some of your team members even pray to the head of my team every day. A repulsive approach to make amends, if you may ask, because my God cannot be fooled. And you know what is most disgusting about you wonderful people? Overstatement alert. Is that you lied when you raised your right hand and swore that oath. You lied when you stated that you would defend against all enemies because you are actually the enemy. Like your master Lucifer. You and your people have deceived many and put fear into the hearts of everyone that disagrees with you in the workplace. And I'm quite certain that the security forces, the prison systems, or any place where there is a system of bureaucracy or wherever one has to climb the ladder to be successful, that you guys are there sowing seeds of chaos, favoritism, and dishonesty. Now check this out, guys. So I remember a few years ago, a certain leader was trying to, they were going over there to China, right? And I wanted to go. Because I wanted to get I wanted to see the Great Wall. I used to read about it as a child, so I was fascinated and I wanted to see the wall. And one of the society's member had the audacity to come and ask me, why do you want to go to China so bad? And his tone, should I say, was less than respectful. It was sarcastic at best, because they had already lied to each other that I was a spy or a suspected spy. But there they were, like hypocrites, stalking and harassing others while posing like they were the standard bearers of heaven, when in reality, you are the standard bearer of everything that is wrong with our society. You see, I am an immigrant, by the way, and there is no amount of money that one could pay me to stalk those who I sought to defend, because I'm not immoral. And also, I actually have a mind of my own. I mean, there's no way that I was going to let no dude call my cell phone or send me a text message to go and stalk my fellow citizen. Why? Because you were hurt by them, because they told the truth about you, because they expose you for what you are, weak, a follower, and one who cannot make good, solid decisions. You see, my father, he never raised me to be a criminal, plain and simple. And that is the reason why I could never jump in my car burn my gas, put wear and tear on my vehicle to go on in the name of a pseudo-secret society who is not going to replace my gas and go stalk my own people. Even if they agree to fill my tank, I would never do it. Because I'm a man with morals. But then again, it takes certain type of people to join certain organization. My mom used to tell me that birds of a feather, they stick together. No, guys, this brings me to the end of this episode. But during the next, I will show you some more videos. If you have not seen the episode before this one, where I was showing all those gang stalkers stalking me, check it out, right? But in the next episode, I will bring you some more videos of these criminals stalking me. And by the way, they have pulled back a little now because they found out that I'm on YouTube. They got their members, you know, everywhere. They found out that I'm on YouTube and people are watching my channel, so they're pulling back. But I'm still catching them, you know, a bunch of cowards. They're like cockroaches that stays in the shadows, you know, bottom feeders. That's what they are. And that is why it's so hard to catch them and put them in jail where they really and truly belong. They're terrorists. Now, if you are a service member, police officer, or anyone who swore an oath to uphold decency, guys, please stay away from these people. America still needs good people. We do need people in this country. I mean, you can't have everyone run into this organization, guys. If that happens, what's going to happen? It's going to be chaos. There's going to be a bunch of criminals running around here, targeting people in the day while going to church at night. Right? To speak in tongues. The devil is a liar. I'm telling you, guys. So if these guys invite you to join their organization, run. And might I say, as fast as you can if you are invited, guys. Run. Now, because you will be required to target the very ones who you swore to protect. You will. So run. Now, with that said, see you next week. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed. Much love. And continue to be good people to society. Thank you, my viewers, for watching.